G'day again, mate.
G'day, Andrew.
What was your name?
My name is Fady.
Fady, and remind everyone what you do, Fady.
Wow, okay. In life in general or like in the entertainment business? Okay, I'm a stand-up comedian. I gig with you all the time, all over the place. It's always such a fun ride.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Crowdworkcast. My name's Andrew Barnett. Thanks so much for joining me. Now, my guest today, the great Fady Kassab. Fady was one of the very early ones of these podcasts. We recorded it in a motel room in the great city of Wagga Wagga because we were down there on a Sydney Comedy Festival showcase tour, I believe. But yeah, Fady's one of these guys. I thoroughly enjoy hanging out with Fady whenever we're on the show together. He is very, very funny. So go see him live whenever you get the chance. Give him a follow on social media. He is at Fady Kassab on all social media. That's FADYKASSAB. And you'll be able to find out on his Instagram. He's got a link tree that'll show you everything he's up to. He even is flogging olive oil. So yeah, he likes to sell olive oil. He claims to know olives. I claim he doesn't. So yeah, you can hear us chat about that and many other things in this episode. If you're enjoying the podcast, please do like, subscribe, all that good sort of stuff. If you want to get in contact with me, reach out via social media. I'm at Andrew Barnett Comedy on Instagram, Facebook, even TikTok. So yeah, drop us a line through those. Let me know that you're enjoying the show. Let me know if there's someone you want to see on the show or you want to hear on the show. Yeah, reach out, let me know, interact. Other than that, enjoy this episode. This is my chat with Fady Kassab.
So,
Mate, it is a fun ride. So last time, you have been on this podcast before, but I think you were one of the very first episodes I did of this. Because I used to do it ages ago, and they were audio only. And then I got busy at Fox, and then as part of bringing the podcast back, I think you were one of the very first episodes.
were we in Tamworth when we recorded?
No, we were in Wagga Wagga.
Wagga Wagga.
I lured you to my hotel room with the promise of helping your career.
That's right.
And you were so disappointed
exactly
that
what
it
he
wasn't
said.
sus.
Said, come, I'll help you. And I went, okay, let me just leave my dignity at the door. And I came into that room, but that room, man, it looked like a hostage video.
Yeah.
Very old curtains.
It looked like we could have been back in Lebanon back in the 80s. So
What idea do you have of Lebanon?
I've seen the videos, the hostage videos. I've seen them.
These weird patterns. Yeah, I guess some families in Lebanon have that. Yeah, and Western Sydney.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a real, like a lot of patterns.
Like
It's not,
flowers
Yes.
and I don't know what. But that's like white people Wagga kind of motel. Taste as well. Think about that.
I think the idea when you're in a motel like that is it's what will hide the most stones. Like if you examine closely, you will. But like when a busy pattern from a distance, you're never going to look and go, well, that's definitely.
That's why it was like dark grey carpets as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Notice how pubs have hardwood floors these days?
Where you get stickiness. Like you feel the stickiness when you step on them.
The pubs used to, there were much more like industrial sort of carpet in pubs.
Yeah.
Back in the day. But then when smoking stopped indoors, you could smell like carpet soaks up the beer and the yeast and everything, and it all just. That's what my brother.
That was the smell of the pub though. That was part of it.
Yeah.
The disgusting. Yeah, I lived in Newtown behind the pub. Place called the Marley Bar.
Oh, I've been to the Marley Bar.
You've been to the Marley Bar?
Yeah.
I used to live like right behind it, so my bedroom was overlooking the courtyard.
I think briefly there was a gig there. I don't know if there is.
Comedy?
Yeah.
I once did a gig there, but it was, I don't know, it was a one-off. It was like a monthly.
Yeah.
One of those monthly shows.
Yeah, it was like upstairs.
Upstairs.
Yes.
Good audience. Weird layout because it was a mixed singing and all that and comedy, you know what I mean? People.
Yeah. No.
It's not good for comedy, just letting everyone know, yeah.
How long have you been doing comedy now?
6.5 years.
6.5 years.
Yeah, I started September 11, 2017.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You were like, what's the fun way to remember this.
It was a Monday, and it was Newtown. That's when they had a spot. And
Yeah.
It happened to be September 11th. And I thought, how come no one's addressing this in the? You're just like, Fady, not everyone can address it, you know. Because I'm Middle East, I can talk about it, but they're afraid to talk about it.
I don't know. They're afraid to talk about it, but
It was like an open mic thing.
yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, in my experience, open micers are the least afraid people to talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Some of
Yeah,
them
they can't get cancelled, really.
talk about, some of them talk about stuff you're like, oh, dude, this is going to take a lot more skill than where you're currently at.
Yeah, the writing, the stage presence, all that needs to be there before you attempt it.
Yeah.
I know I said something like, oh, you don't want the Middle Eastern guy to bomb on stage today. And I thought that's the funniest joke. Thought, hey, I wrote something.
Yeah.
I remember telling my friend I want to do stand-up comedy. What do you think I should write? Like half an hour? He goes, half an hour? 4 minutes.
Oh, you thought
I
to
thought
start
I have
off
to,
with half an
I
hour?
have to write half an hour. That's what I
Oh,
thought.
man. No, definitely not. Thank God.
Yeah,
Can you
can you-
imagine going to an open mic where everyone's brand new, but they're all doing 30 minutes?
I had no clue what it
Oh,
was.
wow.
Yeah.
That'd be painful. That'd be horrendous.
Yeah.
Mate, but now you're kicking ass, taking names. You feel like you've come in you've had a bit of a day.
Today?
Yeah.
Listen, man, I've been working on a website all day because I do that during the day still. It's a legacy business of mine. I've been doing it for 20 years. Yes, website. No.
Yeah.
But when you're in the cold, it's a cold day today in Sydney, and I'm just home. I turned on the heating, and I did not speak to anyone the whole day, not one word.
Yeah.
Working on the computer, and then, I have to go to Andrew. I drive, I don't talk, and now I get here, I feel like, you know when you wake up an older person, say, hey, come on. You know, like your grandpa.
Come- and they-
they'll have, what? And there's a lot of sniffling and adjusting the eye. That's what I felt. So I'm warming up now still. I should probably rent a share space, you know, where I can be around people and work.
That's it. That's one of the things I found most difficult about when I was basically just doing this and doing most of it from home.
Yeah.
Like doing comedy is that exact thing is like not interacting with people during the day.
Yeah, just being at home and looking at a wall.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. Like I'm a bit the same as you. Like I get a bit of energy off people.
Yeah, just bouncing ideas off and talking. Yeah, that feeds you. And I was with my kids for like 5 days. I didn't do stand-up last week. The week before, I had, for the first time ever, 7 nights in a row, I had stand-up.
Oh,
I had shows, and it was 8 shows in 7 nights. And I went, I'll take the following weekend off. But it wasn't great that I took it totally off. I took 5-6 days without anything.
so have you done a gig since you took time off?
No.
No. So
No,
how
so-
quickly do you go from like with a little break like that, feeling like you've never done stand-up? Like in terms
Yeah,
of the
a
next
week is
gig?
enough.
Yeah.
You know, because I stopped on a Saturday night or Sunday, and then this whole week, past what's today? Tuesday. So yeah, it's been 9 days.
9 days.
9 days, no shows.
Oh.
Like there are open mics, I think, around Sydney tonight somewhere.
Yes.
I'm thinking, like, I wrote a few things. Maybe I'll go try them just to be on stage. But then I don't have stand up for the next 3 days, and then hosting Hornsby for the Sydney Comedy Festival thing on Saturday.
I'll be there.
Hornsby or Wentworthville or.
Wentworthville's Saturday. Hornsby's
That's
Friday
the one.
night.
Yeah, I'm missing Hornsby. I'll be in hospital on Friday. Yeah, it's just like a procedure.
You're worried about this too.
Bloody hell! It's just like one of those regular. The doctor goes to me, "So how do you feel?" I said, "I feel like I'm 17 years old, man. 17." He goes, "Well, you're not 17." And I think there are a few things you should do for any checkups, and went, ugh.
That's because you can be all ages just a number as much as you want, but your GP
Yeah.
says but
Because
that number
no.
means you need to do these tests.
I know.
Yeah.
And now suddenly, and I felt pretty racist because he goes to me, "You're on Medicare, you don't have private health insurance." I said, "No." He goes, "There are 2 hospitals," and Sydney, don't take this the wrong way. He goes, "You have 2 choices where you live, Mount Druitt or Windsor. Which one would you want?" And I went, I took a moment, I went, Windsor? I don't know why I said that. Mount Druitt might have an amazing hospital. But
I'm sure they do.
So I drove to Windsor that day to give him papers, and it was free parking. And I went,
Oh,
I made a good decision.
yeah.
Free outdoor parking, and the people were pretty nice.
Windsor's a hike though.
Well, from my place, I live in the hills, that's 40 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
It wasn't too bad, but the idea of just giving me a choice, just pick one for me. You tell me where to go.
Oh man. So do you want to say what the procedure is?
No,
Okay.
no, it's a penis reduction. How's that?
Just the width though.
Shave the width off.
Look, I'm happy with the length. Just
I just listen. The girth is just too much.
Yeah.
Too much. Very custom condoms here.
But you were saying though you've never had like because you got to get a general
Anesthesia. Yeah, and I've
never had that.
No, you've had it.
Yeah, plenty of times.
What do you mean plenty? It's not like Vegas here. We're gonna go.
Because
So when was the last time you had it? What did you do first time you had it?
A long time.
Okay, what was the occasion? For what reason?
Oh, I broke my elbow when I was a kid, and I had to have pins put in it.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh. So do you go off in airports metal detectors?
No. So the reason the scar, I showed you the scar just before. The reason it's so funky is it was the late '80s, and
Of course.
So now they do like keyhole surgery and that. Then they just that was done on like so that size of scar. The scar doesn't grow with you. So picture that.
That is the scar.
Picture that scar on I think I would have been 6 or 7.
So then they take away the metal because it's healed?
Yeah,
Or?
so what it was the elbow broke, so they put 2 pins in a cross like there and set it in place to the elbow joint would like re-heal, and then so that was 6 weeks like that, and then they had another operation to take the pins out, which is why scar has been doubled over. That scar.
Oh God.
Yeah.
When I was maybe 9, I was in the garden and I was hammering something. I don't know. I wasn't really working. You know, I had a hammer, and let's see what I can break with this.
Yeah.
You know, we all get. And I was doing something on the edge of the kind of a step, and I slipped. And as I was falling down, I went, if I fall on the hammer, it might break my teeth. Like I was really quick thinking, so I threw the hammer out as I fell and landed on the elbow.
Ooh.
And the elbow just dislocated, and I went, I'm screaming, and my mother came running. And she goes to my dad, like, Gus, his name was Ghassan, called him Gus, take Fady to the hospital, look at him, what's wrong with him? And he just grabbed my elbow, I can't move it. He goes, come. What hospital? I'll take him to the Arab doctor, the Arabic doctor, that's what it's called. We go to the Arabic doctor, a guy I know.
Not Windsor?
Not Windsor, no. And I'm going there, I'm a kid, the guy goes to me, does this hurt? Yes, it hurts. Don't touch it. And he goes, okay. Well, you've dislocated your elbow. I'm gonna have to put it back. I said, okay. And he goes, so where do you go? What class are you in? I said something like, year 5 or year 4. He goes, year 4.
Yes. They distract you. I had that when I was
bloody hell. I was in so much pain.
4, I think. I fell off some monkey bars and broke my left wrist, and it was like up like this, and then they had to do the yeah. So no, I've broken this.
You
arm.
remember that at 4?
Yeah, I remember. Like
it was traumatic. Yeah.
And I remember having to have it in a little sling. But I was back climbing trees within a day.
So do you remember your anesthesia from when you had it?
No, that one I wasn't anesthesia. This
for
one
the elbow?
I remember waking up. And they must have been right at the end of the procedures. It's like sort of coming out of it a bit. And I remember thinking, oh no, like because I could see the doctors still, because you usually wake up in recovery. So I think it must have been when I got the pins out. I remember waking up and I could see we were still in the operating theatre, and they were off to the side. And I remember
like
thinking,
an alien
oh, man,
abduction.
I don't want. I remember thinking I might get in trouble because I woke up too early. You know, that kid brain. And so I just thought I'll go back to sleep, and I closed my eyes and then just woke up in recovery. Like, but it's like that. You don't know, like it all just happens. You don't know.
Yeah, a friend of mine was saying, he goes, they put you under, you go, and then you fall asleep. He goes, and then you wake up. He goes, all you remember is them inducing you.
Yeah, I remember.
You don't
as a kid, one of the things I remember is they going, okay, now you're gonna. So when I broke my elbow, we were in Corowa, and I broke it. We were at Little Athletics, so we'd basically been to. We must have been running late. We hadn't had lunch, and then when I broke my elbow, they took me to the local hospital, and they're like, "No, this is going to need an operation. You're going to have to take him into Albury. We can get the ambulance, but that'll be a little while because there was no. there was one ambulance in town, and I think he had it was off, like he wasn't working that weekend, so we'd had to get an ambulance to come patient transport from Albury. This is the 80s, man. And
This is so
and in the
good. He
country.
was off that weekend, ambulance driver.
Yeah, like he was probably on call, but it's not an emergency transfer. But,
Yeah.
So they just said, Dad, do you want to just take him? So they packed me up in the little van and pillow and everything so I could stabilise it so they couldn't move. And then they took me into Albury. And then I remember waiting because they were like, you might have an operation. I couldn't eat, couldn't drink. So I remember being so hungry and thirsty and just watching a tap drip in this little area we were sitting in and just being like wanting to lean
Yeah.
over and just...
No phones,
No.
nothing. What are they going to keep you busy with? Yeah, that's
Well,
right.
it was-
Watching a tap drip.
Watching a tap drip and just thinking,
Almost like meditation, man. People pay for that these days.
Just need some water. And then,
How old was that again?
this was maybe 6. Maybe 6.
6 years old.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. At
So-
4 and at 6,
Yeah.
and the elbow was at what age?
This is the elbow.
This
The
is the
elbow was
six?
at 6. 4 was the first wrist. 6 and then 12 I did a wrist again.
Same wrist.
So, but yeah, I remember being there.
Look what an active kid you were, though.
Yeah. You're getting scrapes.
So what is the adult anesthesia that you remember then?
So, but I remember them saying to me, like I had the shits because it had been a long day and I hadn't been able to eat. And I remember them lying me down and saying, all right, you're going to count backwards from 100. I was like, oh, for crying out loud, I don't want to have to clap everything.
Homework.
99, 90, and then just being, I didn't get past 98. I was out.
Wow.
I remember thinking even then as a kid, why would you say 100?
You
Made me
started.
think I was going to have to go all the way from 100, and I was young enough that was a lot of counting. I didn't want to have to count. Yeah, like why wouldn't you just say count backward from 4? You're going to knock me out before I get.
The problem is
zero
the
anyway.
form has so many things you have to take. I accept that I might die due to an allergic reaction to the anesthesia. I might accept that I'm.
Without getting too philosophical though, you get in a car, you're accepting you might die.
That is quite philosophical.
Yeah, like these are all
Part of life.
yeah, and statistically less chance than.
My head was like, what if I die, right? Of course, you get that thought. Then I thought, and I thought, no, I have nothing much on. You know what I mean? That's okay. I thought, like, I have insurance, right? If the kids can, have life insurance. Other than that, like, I thought, no, I can't die now because. And then I thought about it. I thought, oh, I'm just doing a website. You know what I mean? That's okay.
How long does it take before Sydney comedy scene people start noticing Fady's not around?
Oh, they don't. No one will notice. No one will notice.
So, do you remember Fady?
Remember Fady? He died, really.
Mate, he's left me unread
I can
on
use these
Facebook.
jokes.
He's left me unread on Facebook Messenger for so long now.
That bastard. Do you think people would steal jokes if a comedian dies? They go, I'll take his joke.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a bit of a.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, see, there's 2 ways to look at that. Like, one, maybe not steal it, like in terms of not give credit, but there's some comedians whose jokes, like, who aren't super well known, but if they died, they've got a couple of jokes. You're like, that joke can't die. That joke needs to still.
Sometimes you see a joke by a comedian who just does it for a bit, then leaves. That doesn't do comedy anymore.
Oh yeah.
And even when they do it, they butcher the joke. But the idea is so good. You go, it was wasted on you. Wasted. You go, you know how they say, even a pig finds truffles once in a while. You know what I mean? Like, people get lucky sometimes with a great premise or a vision. And they go, we all get these thoughts. I wish I had written that one or thought of that, which is great because it gets the juices flowing. Yeah.
So you're terrified of your
No, I'm not worried. My brother just was visiting on the weekend with his kids, so I had to have way more kids. And he goes, listen, it's a known fact that after general anesthesia, suicide rate really jumps up.
Oh.
So if you feel anything afterwards, you have to let me know. I said, why didn't you tell me after? Why didn't you tell me after I woke up? You're the one taking me to hospital.
So basically,
why are you freaking me out?
Now you're looking at the form going, you know what? I might die, but the good news is I'll probably feel like dying.
Yes. Or if I don't die in anesthesia, I'll kill myself a week later.
Yeah, no.
And he goes to
I
me,
don't
you
know
know,
that
Robin
that's-
Williams was one. I said, Robin Williams had depression as well. Like, you can't just
Robin
combine
Williams
all of
and
this.
had recently. Now I might be putting misinformation on the internet here, but I think he'd been recently diagnosed with a degenerative disease that was going to take his mind.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Because he as well, he had general anesthesia because of heart surgery, apparently.
So heart surgery is different in that there is something I've read about. It's to do with heart surgery.
Okay.
It's when they
But
basically
penis
put-
reduction,
Yeah, penis reduction. You should be
fine.
fine. Well, that may. I don't know. Maybe that does lead to depression. Who knows? But yeah, there is something to do with the like when they put you on the bypass, take you off your own.
oh,
So there is
something about life energy being.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I've heard that, but not just under a general. Like
Also, apparently,
like I said to you, my son when he was under treatment for leukemia, he had multiple general anaesthetics for different tests and all sorts of stuff, and
sweet kid.
he loved them. Like there was one we went in. He used to call it a pink mask test because they put the gas mask for the kid was pink. And he'd call it, oh, am I having a pink mask today, Dad? He loved them. I remember going in one time because one of us would always like go into the room with him until he was asleep to the start of the procedure. And I remember
even
going in and
imagine.
there's just heaps and heaps of doctors. I'm like, is this a big, because he'd had a few of them. It was just like it was basically a lumbar puncture type thing.
You mean people watching?
Yeah, there was heaps of, and the
People working on the theater. Yeah.
anesthesiologist said, "Oh, yeah, no, there's a few people here because they've just wanted to meet the kid who's really because most kids are scared of it, don't want it, like or didn't enjoy it. He's like, let's do it, let's bring it on.
He's your son.
Yeah, he loved it. He said to me, he goes, Dad, when I have a pink mask, I sleep hard.
Sleep hard.
Yeah,
It's such a great
loved
term.
them. He loved them. So yeah, mate, maybe you'll enjoy them too.
I'll see. I'll update you because I'm hosting the show the second night after my hospital visit.
Yeah.
It's like half an hour and I get out and go home.
Yeah.
I said, I'll take an Uber. They said, nope.
No, you need someone to come
I
pick
said,
you up.
why? They said, you need someone to pick you up.
Yeah.
And I thought, I wonder why. Because you wake up, it wears off within an hour, I hear, or something. Maybe more.
You might feel a bit crook sometimes. People get a bit.
So I actually, because I'm supposed to host the 2 nights.
Yeah.
And I said to Nico, I said, man, I can't host, I think, Friday. I'll be in hospital during the day. Don't rely on me coming and bringing energy after waking up with anesthesia. And he goes, okay, see how you feel. If you feel like coming doing a spot, jump. But I'll get someone else to host. And you host the Saturday then only instead of 2 days. I said, okay. Then I thought, if I die, I had this thought, who's going to host Saturday and who's going to delete all my spam junk mail, you know?
Yeah.
And my brother goes, okay, you die and don't worry about it. You do the dying and let me worry about it. So I'll delete your spam.
No wonder he wanted the reduction. Look at all these emails he asked. He answered for, do you want more?
That's great. That was great. Because I
man.
kept opting into the penis enlargement. Hence the reduction.
Hence the reduction, yeah.
See, so that's the kind of guy.
It's not a balloon, mate. You can't just blow it up and down like that.
Oh, man.
So let's get off your penis reduction topic. Let's talk
luck.
other stuff. So you went back to. I was actually went on your Linktree today,
Yeah.
and you're like because I introduced you recently to a beautiful thing we do here in Australia called olives, and
Yes.
I got you to try one, and now you're selling olive oil.
I know.
So you went back to Lebanon recently.
Yeah.
How was the trip back? Like, what
It was very short.
did you do stand up over there? I know you were going to visit your mum because she's.
She was unwell, but she recovered. She's totally fine now. But because of the situation and Israel's bombing South Lebanon a lot, and I said to Mom, we live in the south, and I said, look, I had booked my flight. It's non-refundable. I'll come and I'll go straight to Egypt and to Cairo, where my older brother lives with his wife.
Oh wow!
And I hadn't met his new wife. I said, and then my mom said with my sister, we'll come meet you. So I land at Beirut because that's where my ticket was.
Yeah.
And
the
I had-
Paris of the East.
The Paris of the East.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of immigrants now, just like Paris. No, I'm just kidding. So my mom and sister met me. I hadn't seen them since 2019.
Oh, wow.
And then we took a 1 hour flight to Cairo, and
nice.
it was. Then my brother met us there, and then my younger brother who lives here in Sydney decided to surprise mom as well, and he arrived the day after me.
So family reunion in
So it
Cairo.
was a family reunion in Cairo. Went and saw the pyramids. I crawled up went to the king's chamber in the Great Pyramid. It was unbelievable. People talk about the pyramids, and you think, yeah, it's just the pyramids. But when you stand there, it's, you know how before you had kids say, oh man, wait till you have kids.
Yeah.
That feeling, and we go, people, I know. You're gonna love that thing more than anything in your life. Yeah. And then you have a kid, you go, ooh, I didn't know there was a part of me that had so much love to give, like I would die for this kid suddenly, for this dipshit. I would die.
And you feel this way about the pyramids,
The pyramids
as well
is the same, man. Talk about a scheme, Egypt. But you get there and it's so chaotic and full of life. You have 100 million people in Egypt, and I asked the Uber drivers there, so how many people live in Cairo? He goes, 100 million. I said, come on. But yeah, it's like everyone goes to Cairo, and it's dirt cheap. We took a 15-minute Uber from the airport, $4 US.
Holy, that is cheap.
That is cheap.
That's, yeah.
Food's
wow.
cheap, museums, like if you want to go, just the ticket, sure, it's expensive to get there from Australia, but I'd say it's worth it. But then I had 3 days left, 3 nights, because I had just booked it for, like, I thought I'll see. If there's a ceasefire, I'll fly, but there was no ceasefire. I was talking to my friends in Lebanon. I was saying, guys, if there's ceasefire, I'll come. They said, just come. I said, but Israel said they're going to attack on the 25th of March. That's because Israel does this all the time. And they went, March. Just come here, man. There's nothing. So I went, yep, there was like, we would hear the drones flying and they're bombing like the border villages. But they had been evacuated, thankfully, by the residents. They knew it's coming. So I spent a few days in Beirut and I went to my village, spent only two nights there.
What's your village called?
Ain al-Dilib. It means the the spring, like water spring, by by the sycamore tree.
Took everything I had, not to just go bless you.
Ain al-Dilib. But I did cough a little bit.
Yeah. So how is it?
So we have a lot. Ain.
Ain.
Ain, it means eye, but also another term for spring,
Okay.
a water spring.
Water spring.
Ain al-Dilib is the sycamore tree.
Ah.
Means the fountain by the sycamore tree, the spring by the sycamore. It's pretty good. We still have the river passing through the village, and so I went and I looked at the olive, because I inherited olive trees after my father passed away, and went to look at my dominion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Everything the light touches.
Everything you can see is mine. Yeah, no, not too much, but I would say total maybe 5,000 square meters of olives, because we was split among the 4 children. And I inherited the roof of the house. So it has 2 floors, and each one of my brothers took one, because the way we calculated it together, it was to be fair.
Yeah.
We thought, okay, so if one of us is getting a farmland and one is getting residential land, that has a bit more value. Then the one who got farmland then can get one of the floors of the house. That's how it was calculated. And then they gave me the 3rd floor, which isn't built, which is the right to build a 3rd floor. That's what I inherited.
Yeah. You inherit.
I inherited the right to build.
And the magic beans. Did you get
the
magic
magic
beans as well?
So my mom hangs laundry there. I told her, you can't do that anymore. It's my house. You can't go on the roof. You can't go to the sun. And your solar panels, I'm going to start charging you for using
rental.
my roof. Rental and all that. And she laughs a lot. Like, she loves it.
Oh, so you've got olives. Who tends to the olives?
We have a very dear friend of the family, George, is like my age.
Yeah.
And he gets workers, they clean, they trim, and then when it's time to harvest,
servants tending the.
We like to call them refugees. No. This time, sometimes we would get Palestinians because right next to our village is the Palestinian refugee camp. So sometimes we get them to pick. This last year we had Lebanese. It's called Ain al-Hilwi. Sorry? Ain al-Hilwi. That's the refugee camp.
Yes.
It scares me that you know all this stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Mate,
mean,
I pay
you're
attention to
probably
the
a
world.
psyop kind of.
Psyop. No,
You are.
no,
You're
it's
some-
like I'm just interested in the world, man. Now I've been,
And now this.
yeah, and now for
Let's-
something less. So but you've started talking a little more about, like, you've sort of, with the current situation in the Middle East, you talked more about that sort of stuff on stage. How,
Yeah.
because a lot of your stuff is also just very joyful and silly.
Yeah, I know.
How do you balance that? Is it like, did you feel like, you know what, I've got to actually talk a little bit about this? And how do you go about finding that funny thing in something that can be a bit, not confronting, but uncomfortable for people? Because it's easier not to think about, and often at a comedy night, that's not what they're there to think about. You know what I mean? Or they don't.
Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right. It always scared me when I started talking about it. Still does sometimes when I start a new joke and I'm tackling a tough subject, but I feel if it's very heavily weighted towards one part of the population or one political spectrum or, sorry, political side of the spectrum, I feel it's not going to work as a joke. It has to be then balanced somehow, right? So even the wording, if we're going to tackle something, I did this joke. It's going to be in July on Channel 7, maybe that cut it out. But I say, my friend who tells me it's all the Holocaust, and if I go back and kill Hitler.
Yes, I know this joke.
You know this joke?
It's a funny bit.
I would go further back in time. I'd go way back, and I'd go for Abraham, right? That's my joke.
Yeah,
and
that'll make you super popular.
Right, so, and it gets a lot of tension, but in the end, so I come to the conclusion that if Abraham doesn't exist, then Jesus doesn't exist, because he comes from Abraham, and as a result, we have no Islam. Suddenly, I'm not going against one particular group. Everyone's gone. All religion's gone.
No,
and
not
that brings balance back to it.
The Buddhists are there.
No, I'm talking
Zoroastrians.
the real ones.
Oh, Jesus, you are going to get me murdered.
No, but
what about
but the wording,
mate?
the wording, for example, if I say I won't go back and kill Hitler, I'd go back in time and I would go for Abraham. I don't say I'm kill Abraham. That's too harsh.
Yeah.
And it's not really part of what I'm trying to convey. It's like I'm not gonna go and kill him. No, if he doesn't exist, I don't say if he's dead.
Yeah.
So when you start wording it softly, because you're trying to get a joke across, I'm gonna end all religion with one joke. Yeah. All the real religion.
The Abrahamic religion.
The Abrahamic, yeah, you know what it is. But so that kind of topic, I realize after a while, okay, it's the way I say it. If it's balanced, and the wording is very important.
Yeah.
Like I sat back and edited and go, I can't say this word. This is too. You know how it is. Also, it's a dark topic. To answer the other part of your question, you know as well. You have such great stuff of you walking around the house and hearing your son in the other room, and you're making noise because you're trying, like, trauma. And this freezing of this moment of shame, that's where the funny is, right? But we work around it. So that's where the funny is, in the darkness, right? I mean, you agree as a comedian. It's like these dark topics people don't talk about, the taboo stuff. Well, that's the one stuff we talk about.
Sometimes it's the thoughts they've had but haven't said out loud, or...
Exactly.
Yeah, there is a thing to that too. I think sometimes of where you're not saying the exact thing, you're giving them enough information that they're
connecting the dots
and picturing the situation in their head, which has a bit of a shortcut of they'll picture it the funniest way for them.
Have you ever been told by an audience member, "Hey, I didn't like that topic; it was too much for me, or too edgy"? Or
no, but I got told by an audience member who was, I don't know if you were on a date or something, your friend, that that my speaking voice is, well, she didn't say it sounded ridiculous, but she
I'll tell her to watch this episode. Yes, I remember she was outside the Comedy Store door with you.
Yes,
and you started chatting after the show, was it?
Yes, I said hello. She came up. She introduced herself. I think you'd gone to the other side to
get my bag or something.
Get your bag, or we were handing out flyers.
Oh yeah, something
before
like that.
The start of the festival, and she introduced herself, and I said something to her, and she goes, "Oh, that's your real voice."
Oh God, that is your real voice.
Yeah.
She thought you were putting on your Australian accent.
Yeah.
On stage, yeah, exactly. You don't exaggerate your accent, right? Because I know newsreaders in Australia are encouraged to be ochre.
No, they're not.
This was, and I'm gonna give you the lecture. I'll give you her name, and you can take it out, right? Huh?
Yeah.
When I first came to Australia in 2001, I was studying media and
I'm not
communications.
going to edit this out.
At,
so.
at,
Mate,
Sydney,
if I'm
at
leaving,
Sydney
if I'm
Uni.
leaving all that
listen.
Israel-Palestine stuff
No.
in, this lecturer's
This is
name is
gonna
going
be
in the
fine.
podcast.
Okay, the lecturer is known apparently. So she was my lecturer 2001.
So you studying...
Media and communication, Sydney Uni, like journalism, you know. And her name was Catherine Lumby. That's what
Yes, Catherine Lumby,
Yeah.
well known here.
Is she well known?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that. So
Journalist.
she was my lecturer, right?
Yes.
And she was saying how Australian newsreaders are encouraged to be more ochre so they can relate more to the viewers and to the listeners.
Wow.
I never forgot that, because my first question to myself was, what the hell does ochre mean? And I wrote OK-E-R. I didn't know what that was. That's why I never forgot it, because they're encouraged to be that. And then I questioned, she goes, oh, it means just more slang using, or maybe the accent heavily more. It's like, I'm uneducated, just like
that's
most of our view. You know what I mean?
So the only other time anyone's commented on my accent was when I was I think I was in year 8, and 2 girls used to make fun of me for the way I said dance. They're like, oh, dance, so fancy.
Dance.
Because I didn't say dance. Like they.
Where were you?
This is when I was living in Corowa. This is where I broke my arm.
But everyone says dance in Australia. You say glasses. You don't say glasses.
Yeah, no, but they thought I didn't say dance. Like didn't go long enough in the middle. It was dance. They thought I sounded fancy.
Just
So they used
because,
to get, Andrew, say dance. I'm like, what? Yeah.
How old are you?
Like year 8, so maybe 13, 14.
You know, when you see our kids passing to that age now, you know, they're and
it's weird.
the bullying that they get is a bit more. It's a bit different. It's not too heavy, the bullying, for me.
I realised that I had a realisation recently that my dad was my age when we moved from Corowa to Newcastle, and in my head that was his like, oh, slide into retirement job, and it was my age that I am now, and I'm like, oh man, I am never gonna get to retire.
Do you know what I noticed as well? I'm older than Fraser Crane was in Frasier. Like he was 41, 42 when the series started.
Are you serious?
I'm serious, but
wow,
that shows you that the 80s, 90s, how people looked in their 40s, and how we now look in our 40s.
I saw a thing online that what was one of the Golden Girls who was the sexed up one?
Oh yeah, there's Blanche.
Blanche, was it Blanche? She was apparently 41.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, but they had grown-up kids in the series.
Yeah, I don't think, because I think that was the clip is her saying I'm
Blanche,
40.
Rose, Dorothy.
Dorothy was the super old one.
No, Dorothy was the tall daughter. B.
Arthur.
That was Dorothy, and Rose was the very famous, the slow one.
Betty White.
Betty White.
Yes.
Was Rose, and then you had Dorothy, Rose, Blanche, Devereaux.
Yeah, well, so it was her saying...
And then Sophia was the mother. So Blanche, yeah. Because I follow the Golden Girls on Instagram. I do. So well written.
I remember...
What an amazingly written show.
I wasn't allowed to watch it because I was too young, and it
had a lot of sexual references, yes.
Yeah. But the clip I've seen is her saying her height and her age. Blanche, I'm 41 years old.
I think she lies a lot in the show as well about her age.
Because that was like, surely she couldn't have been 41 at that point. Because why would you be living in a retirement home?
Also, we're not adults. I mean, I have kids, but I'm not an adult.
No, you're not. You're on dating apps and stuff.
No.
You're not now.
I have not had them in almost a year.
Oh.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I mean, also, single dads, I don't think they're like the cream of the crop on dating apps. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, there's probably other options.
There are other options, but also when you're a single dad, I think it's better in person. If they meet you in person and then they connect with you, then it's the one hurdle kind of pass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they think they're gonna be like a new mother, and they have mother. They have a mother, my kids. I'm not looking for a mother.
No.
Not looking for anyone. My friend Heggy goes to me, why would you even start again?
Oh my!
Because if I were you, I just that's it. That's it. You just focus on comedy for the rest of your life. Travel, do your thing. What's with the relationships? What's with the relationship? And when there's a point there.
I got to be honest. I wouldn't even know where to start.
Where would it's not great.
No.
No. Listen as well, because we're in our 40s. So the women who are on dating apps that are a match for us, let's say, if you want to go 10 years younger than me, I'm 47.
Yep.
She's 37. That's 10-year gap. She wants kids.
37. Yeah, maybe.
And if she hasn't had them yet,
that's
usually they say,
definitely-
I want like few kids, like now. And you go, I don't want any kids.
Yeah.
I've had to. Can you imagine starting again from zero?
No, I couldn't imagine. That would be.
I know.
Yeah, no.
I know.
Like I look at mates of mine who've had kids later than I did, and I'm like, oh man, like their kids are still little, and I'm
Man,
like,
kids are
like,
amazing,
love-
and like
I
I feel
love-
I want to give her a kid. You know, if I meet someone going, yes, but I won't be around this time. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna, because I wanna go and like, travel, do festivals, and be away, and not feel guilty that someone's home alone with a kid.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
so that's comedy's
That's the
obviously
tough
the,
part, yeah.
the passion now. How
It is, yes, yeah.
How you've been like so the Channel 7 thing? What?
Oh, it was Jim Jeffries and Friends. It was a lineup. So I think they filmed 6 shows.
Oh wow.
6 shows with different comedians. I met Jim Owen for the first time.
Yes.
For me, that was a big deal because he was
He's
one of the first comedians. And I met him like this. I said, he goes, hi, how are you? We're backstage. I said, hi, I'm Fady. He goes, what? I said, Fady. He goes, oh. And he walked away. No, that was my interaction with Jim Owen.
Did you not chat with him after that?
Nope. He
Ah.
was pacing because he was about, I think, to go on stage. You know, they were all just standing in the back
Yeah.
as people are about to get on stage. And I didn't chat to him afterwards, no. What do you chat to him about? Hey!
I chat to him about I don't know. I ask how he's been. Chat to him about golf. Loves golf. Loves golf and fishing.
But you've met him before, yeah?
Yeah, I've worked with him a lot.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for me.
Yeah, but I know that feeling because he was the comedian when I was in year 7 and 8 at school. That just his show was on TV, and it was on like a Sunday night, and it was the show we'd talk about at school on the Monday morning.
He had the show.
Yeah, Jim Owen show. It was amazing. It was. I think it was that thing. You know when I'm a big believer that there's an age that you're in your, as for boys at least,
Yeah.
in your teens, and I'd imagine it's the same for girls, but like where your sense of humor is really impressionable, and you find that thing. Like it's
Yes.
almost like you know how ducks will imprint on. Like a baby
You're right.
duckling will
Yeah,
imprint on something.
yes.
Like that humor that first gets you, with it awakens your sense of humor, it imprints on you for life, and that was Jim Owen's show for me. That and the Late Show, which was the
I would say a joke. I don't know if that's his joke now, but I'm 90% sure it is. When I first came to Australia, on watching TV, that's where I saw him, not online, in 2001.
yeah.
He was saying, recycled toilet paper. I wonder how that feels. We have to go through this shit again?
Yes.
That's him?
Yes, that's him.
his joke. And I would say it to people, said, how funny they go, like, and I thought it was the funniest.
That was because that's part of a longer bit too, where because he's the other part of that is do you ever blow your nose with toilet paper? And
That
do you think
that
the
must
toilet
consider
paper
itself lucky.
considers itself
That's right.
lucky?
That was part of
Yeah.
it. That's right. But
that-
isn't that amazing? You go, this is my humor. Hey, I like this.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is kind of, hey guys, hey, everyone agrees. They
Mate,
go,
he's got a million. He's got this. He had this one, and I don't know. I'll tell it on this just because I don't think he does it anymore. This one joke he was doing for a little while. I remember seeing him when I first met him, and we do these couple of gigs together in Melbourne down at the Silent Comedy. I saw him do it a couple of times, and I loved it. This joke about he said my friend had a smartwatch. He said we were out together, and he looked at his watch, and said, "Oh, Meatloaf died." And I said to him, "Oh, Jesus, is that the time? We're late." We said we'd be home before Meatloaf died. Right, and that just tickled me so hard, and I loved it, and I told him I
Because
loved
it's
it,
so abstract.
and because I'd seen him do it like a while ago, and then hadn't seen him. I said, "Are you still doing that joke?" He goes, "No, it never works." I said, "Mate, it's a great joke. You got to do it." And then he did it, and it just nothing. The audience that night, not like
That's amazing.
And then I felt really bad that I'd told him to do this joke that I love, and it didn't do anything. And I'm like, how do they not love
Man,
that joke?
I had to retire a few that never got anything. I remember I used to have one saying, yeah, I think my wife is cheating on me because she refused to buy a memory foam mattress. When I first started, I used to say that joke. And my friend goes, Fady, I think you've hit a new level of paranoia. And I go, there are levels? I knew there were levels, right? I never got a joke. And for me, there are levels. I've always known it. It's like, this is the paranoia
Who
I'm in.
looks after the levels?
Well, you know what I mean? It's just,
yeah.
I tried changing and tweaking the wording, never worked. I had another one. My father, my local pub fixed the cigarette vending machine,
Yep.
and my dad came back.
That's-
Never got anything.
No.
Nothing. It's all about I'm going out for a pack of cigarettes. I have to explain it now. And then he never came back
For a lot of audiences, there's too much
to unpack.
to unpack. Yeah.
Yeah, when there's homework.
Yeah.
There's some audience like Melbourne, they like to, they like to think about it.
I go, oh, that's a tweet. Back when you could put jokes
Oh,
on Twitter.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Back when, you
It
still
wasn't
can.
just a cesspit. Yeah.
It was always a cesspool of hate, Twitter.
Yeah.
Instagram was all about love. They had a heart for everything.
Instagram. Yeah. I don't know. So you're still active on social media and that sort of stuff. So, sorry, let's go to comedy. First off, how did you end up on the Jim Jeffries and Friends? Like, how did you become friends with Jim Jeffries?
Well,
You've been open
can
to
one
him a
really
bunch.
become friends with Jim Jeffries? That's the question. I opened for him once at his dad's bowling club.
Oh, nice.
That was the first time. And then I opened for him 2 shows at the State Theatre.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if there was somewhere else. And then the Jim Jeffries, because that's because I feel like the dad's bowling club was like, let's see if I like this guy. I can open for me there. Also, we have the same management, so it helped to get in. But I think in general, he definitely doesn't mind me. You know what I mean? The fact that I keep opening.
I was being obsequious by saying how did you become friends. But that's like, because I knew you'd open for him quite a bit, and you've also opened for like a few other big acts recently.
Oh yeah, for Bassem Youssef, who got really big for speaking his mind, his truth on Piers Morgan show, and he's an Egyptian. He used to have a show in Egypt, and then they arrested him. They shut down his TV show. He moved to the U.S. He's an American citizen.
Cancelled.
That's getting cancelled. They arrested. He tells a whole story of. So I opened for him. Basically, I knew he was coming here, so I sent him a message on Instagram and said, "Can I open for you?" And a week later, he goes on Piers Morgan and just blows up.
Oh, wow.
Right?
So you got in under the wire.
He only had a paltry 2 million followers when I sent him the message, right? Now he has 7 million. So, but he had nothing back then.
I feel like the message
You know
is
what I
tipped
mean?
him over, He got the confidence to speak his truth.
Yeah, I opened for him. So that was
wow.
4 shows at the Enmore Theatre and 1 at the Sydney Opera House.
Wow.
So that was really nice to open for him. And Nimr, who is a really famous Lebanese comedian who lives in LA, and he and I went to the same school, which is
Really?
same teachers at the same time.
I'm assuming he's much younger.
He's 3 years younger. Yeah. So I showed him the yearbook as well. His photos in the yearbook, he was something like 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
He goes, no way. And we're talking, so how's that teacher? Oh, he had an accident. He's in a wheelchair now. I go, no way. He's telling me this stuff. And that was a couple of years ago when I met him. And then when he came here recently, we did gig together, a few gigs. And he goes, you want to open for me at Enmore Theatre? Steve Hughes was a great highlight this year for me.
Had you not worked with Steve before?
No, so I opened for him 2 shows. He saw me at the Laugh-In, Seizure Kaiser's room in Newtown. And he came, He almost didn't make it that night. So Caesar goes to me, "Can you pick him up?" They canceled all the trains. And he said, "You can pick him up from Parramatta?" I said, "Yeah, it's because I live in the hills. Down to Parramatta to the city, I can pick him up along the way."
Yeah.
He goes, "If you don't, it's going to be a big hassle for him to, if you pick him up." So we start chatting. We really hit it off. Then he liked my jokes at that night. And then a week later, I think I saw him again. He goes, "Do you want to open for me? I have 2 shows coming up." And I've always admired his comedy because his writing's great, but his mastery of silence on stage is
Yes.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because you know how hard it is for us to have silence as we.
He has an amazing presence on stage.
Insane.
That he can sit in a silence and the audience don't, because you see people sit in silence, sometimes they get uncomfortable, sometimes they get distracted, but he is able to sit in a silence much longer than a lot of actors.
Oh my God.
And the mastery of knowing when
I was
to do
sweating on the inside looking at him, going, "God,
Yeah.
it's dead air." It's dead air. What dead air?
That's a different-
His timing was like to learn that as well.
But that's also different. Like I think too, like with the focus on putting everything online, like the short clips, boom, boom, you can't have dead air. Like,
They take the breaths out.
yeah,
They cut out the laughter in the comedy clips. They go, but that's the timing. It has timing. Comedy has timing, has a rhythm, it's a wave. It's up and down.
it's like music.
They go cut, 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 cut. No, this is it. This is the joke. You go, it's not funny. Just let it breathe. Let people absorb the joke. It's just. But he would say something like Steve Hughes would say. So yeah, that's a joke, like a really killer punchline. He goes, "Yeah," grabs a beer, like takes a sip. And just it just walks about maybe 20 seconds before he says another word.
No one sips water like he does.
That's great. It's great.
Sips and drink, just
and from like
little sip, and it looks like he's thinking about the next thing he's going to say. And like when you've worked with him a few times, you're like, you're not thinking about it. I've seen you say this same thing 15 times, but it's just so much.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, like,
he knows that it's part of the joke, the silence.
100%. It's
But whereas like Nimr really taught me how to get in touch with my Lebanesiness a bit more, because I never used to talk about my culture to my culture. You know what I mean is to talk about what makes me coming from Lebanon. I would say my political views. I would say, but for him, like it's the way we yell as a culture, but without making it too woggy. You know what I mean?
No.
He doesn't have.
You've got. I think this is good advice because you've got really good perspective on. Well, you've got a really
Opinions, yes.
No, not the opinions. Your opinions are offensive and atrocious, but you're no, but like your experience is so different.
Yeah.
To even a lot of, like second generation Lebanese in Sydney. Like
of course.
You grew up in Lebanon, moved here. Like your experience is so different, and that's interesting, and that's a perspective. Because I think if you just get up and don't explore that on stage, then that picture that a lot of the audience will have will be, okay, I went to school with a Lebanese guy or guy whose Lebanese parents were Lebanese, and it's not the same experience that kid had.
Yeah, true.
The experience you're having. So there's slightly different perspectives on things where you can give that a little bit, like it just makes it a bit more interesting, a bit different.
Yeah.
And, like where you're coming from.
So get in touch with that as well. So never really this time I felt that's very. It's true. I never really talk about us. I mean, I talk about my mother very gently. I say, she goes, "I wish I had died in the war," just for stepping on the wet floor. The drama that's in the culture, I don't really address much because I was always too afraid to become a woggy kind of. But I'm not woggy because I can't become that, right? So that was with Jim Jeffries, for example. It's amazing when you open for someone who's established and they've been through it all and they've made a name for themselves. You go, how did this person make a name? You realize that with him, just fearlessness, just it says whatever's on his mind, very lovingly and with a wink, but he's not scared to kind of go roll down in the mud. You know what I mean? You realize about him. He can go really filthy topics and make them funny.
Yeah.
And because he's not like just dipping his toe in the mud, he just dives all in. Bassem Youssef, the way he talks to the audience, the way he was just. Unbelievable. He goes to me, just tell them, don't use your phone. Turn off their phones. I go, hey, I'm so happy to be opening for Bassem Youssef. Everyone, my name is Fady Kassab. Listen, just as a reminder, turn off your phones. And I had just announced it backstage. And then I do my 7-10 minutes, whatever it is. And then he goes to me, remind them at the end, don't use your phones. And I go, just remember, put those phones away, sit back and enjoy the show. And he gets on stage. All these phones are filming him. And he goes, I love Arabs. They don't give a shit. He goes, 3 times already we've thought, you, and he starts pointing and people are losing it. And he goes, you're still filming me. What the hell is wrong with? And the way he told the story, how he got arrested in Egypt, is hilarious. And the guy tried to replay his show, but he had a very old Windows laptop. Don't use the evidence. This is what we recorded. And he goes, no, do you have VLC, media player? Because you might need that. Like he's telling the police how to play the incriminating evidence. And he had to go through his jokes and explain the joke. What did you mean by that joke? And he goes, well, yeah, it didn't get much, this joke. So it's the way he talked about the investigation, he was just himself.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You go, no wonder, you hear about contemporaries and how they influence each other. You go, you study about it when you're a kid. Michelangelo was a contemporary to Raffaello. You go, so what?
Yeah.
And they go, oh, then you see the art, you go, oh yeah, I see the influence. Because they're at the same time.
And they're talking about it. They're also in a culture picking up the same cues. Like there's a reason.
That's right. They're
all of a
just
sudden
absorbing
everyone
the same
starts talking
cultural...
about, everyone all of a sudden has a joke about X. It's because that's what's floating around in the culture.
This one person, this is quite philosophical, but he
here
said
we
if
go.
you get an idea and you don't act upon it, you leave it for a while, and then someone does it, it's not that someone beat you to it or stole your idea. He said this, he goes, it's because the time for this idea had come and it was ripe, and if you don't pick it, someone else will. Because it's like there's a collective consciousness where this idea is now ready. It's like it's pregnant with, or it's just about to give birth to this idea, and someone else is going to deliver it. Someone else is going to pick it. And you go, that's very interesting. That's when, how many, like I've written a joke once, turned out someone else had it exactly from Adelaide. He had very similar line, same thought, similar approach to it. I thought, wow, we both of us thought of it at the same time, same year we said it. Different, kind of a bit different to each other, but I thought, oh, shit, maybe I should become a better comedian. Because like, if I'm reaching for this, hey, here's an idea, without working on it, so.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, yeah, it is interesting like that. I think sometimes the challenge, if there is a topic everyone's got a joke about, is forgetting the comedian's name. He's great. He's a US comedian, works clean, and but he was saying like in terms of like hack premises, he goes, there's no such thing as a
Brian Regan.
Brian Regan.
How the hell did I get it? Because
Yes.
as soon as you said he's clean.
Yeah.
And
So I
Brian
heard
Regan
interviews,
is.
He goes. I'll wait till it's completely hacked out. That's when I go in. I'm going to find something different. And I'm like, that is
beautiful.
That's just a beautiful way of looking at it. I'm going to find the different angle. I'll find the thing no one's thought of. I'm like, that's the challenge in. That's where and you hear that and you go, okay, then it doesn't matter if someone's written a joke about that topic. If you can find a way to do it that's completely different, or a way to do it that's a different angle, then it's fine. It's still fresh, which is like, yeah, which is interesting.
I wonder if the listeners / viewers are liking comedy talk.
Well, I think anyone that listens to this regularly must, because a lot of it turns into this.
Yeah, of course. I mean, what am I going to talk about? Heart surgery,
Yeah, well, penis reductions. Mate, we are about at time, but I do want to ask you, so obviously comedy's the passion. It's the dream. You want to tour, all that sort of stuff. 5 years' time from now, what's it look like? What's your, like, pattern look like? Like, are you touring? Are you...
Yeah, that's part of it, I guess. But I'm going to quote Luke Heggie, because I was with him last week. We drove down to Kiama for a few hours. We spent the whole afternoon going to like Vinny's and just walking around and eating. We did the gig, drove back. And I was saying how people's ambitions in comedy are very much numerical. Like, I'm gonna fill this theater, and then 2 years I want to fill that theater. And he goes, because I was saying to him that someone was saying that, and he goes, "Have you noticed? That's what people's aim is. Not like, ooh, I'm gonna have an insane. Like, I would have perfected this joke I'm doing now. I would have. If you focus on the writing, everything else will follow. Like, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna bring a lot of joy to people. Hopefully, doing what I love, just make a living and feed my kids." But people think of how much will I become rich? Will I fill theaters? And if you focus on that, I don't think you'll get it, and you won't be satisfied because you'll get it and you go, "Oh,
There's
someone
always-
else's bigger arena."
Yeah.
That's my aim.
There's always more tickets to
But-
sell.
Yeah, you know how it is. So if I sell out a show, you don't sell out a show. I think.
So what are you
if I
working
can
on?
write, I love writing and doing like sketches and maybe a series.
Yep.
I've already was writing a series with my friend Ludwig. We pitched it and didn't get picked up. We're not diverse enough, and no,
His
but
name's Ludwig.
his name is Ludwig and he's Lebanese. I know. We are CALD, culturally and linguistically diverse. That's what it's a government term.
Oh my goodness.
So
I
I
am
love
not.
writing. Annie Louie this year got me to act in a little pilot that she did for ABC, and it was a lot of fun acting, just playing with a character. I had never done that before. Thought, okay, that'd be nice to kind of, and not necessarily become a film star, but to write and act in something, get money for it, and produce it, and just put it out there.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Nice if I can never retire from comedy, just like Carlin did it into his 70s and kept doing shows. That's the great thing about this. I feel I can't keep doing web design or marketing and all that shit. But when you're in comedy, if you're doing well and people like you, you can keep doing it and never retire.
India 70s. So what's that, like 10 more years? You want...
You're not good at math, are you? You're younger than me. You're much younger. You're a child.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
a child, but you've been battered by life. I think you've learned. You look older. That's what I'm saying.
I look older.
Bastard, you and your full head of hair. Look at him.
Yeah, well, it's
You
going
look
great.
great. You look
At
great.
a, at a rate of knots. So yeah, no, I like
So,
that.
yeah.
I like those. I like those sort of goals where you're like you've got that's. I lean similar way. Like I think my goals now are very much to be able to do the thing, to have enough success that it buys you the freedom to do the next interesting thing.
Yes, yeah.
Which is, I think that's the key to a like a satisfying career as opposed to just tick off the numerical.
Think of it as like Apple, very clever with their marketing compared. Windows always say to you, these are the features, this much gigs, this much RAM. Whereas Apple goes, share memories with your family.
Yeah.
They go that approach because for them it's how can I benefit the user, not how good the product is. So if the comedy is look at me, I'm so funny and haha, and I'm rich from it. What joy are you bringing people? So if you put them first, I think you can have a very long career.
All right. Well, mate, we are at time, so plug where people can find your joy.
You can buy my olive oil.
Yes.
From
We didn't talk enough olives. I'm disappointed. I wanted to have a whole.
It's extra virgin olive oil.
Yeah.
It's great.
How virgin can something be?
Oh, extra virgin actually relies on the acidity level in the olive
Okay.
oil. So the lower the acidity,
Yeah.
the more then it's considered extra virgin. I think it has to be under. Can't remember now. God, 0.8.
You've been promising me
Or
this
1.5.
olive oil for a while now.
And I will keep promising. Don't you?
Saturday?
Okay, I'll bring you a bottle. I'll give it to you half price.
All right.
I'm actually out of oil. I'm waiting for it. So, Ailul, we can
This
put
is-
it.
this is-
if you
this is
follow
where I
Fady,
This is where I know you're Lebanese. No, don't buy my oil. I'm out of it.
I'm out of oil. I'm getting a new shipment, but all the boats now have to go around the Cape of Good Hope to come to Australia.
Oh,
so
of
that's
course.
taking a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
So go to Fady Kassab, F-A-D-Y-K-A-S-S-A-B. So Fady Kassab on Instagram, and I have there in my bio, I have the links to everything that's happening. In my highlighted stories, all the shows that are coming up are there. I also have Facebook and YouTube, but for some reason I post the same videos there. They don't get, and TikTok. TikTok and Instagram, I have the most followers, not really much, but for some reason, I don't know why, same videos on YouTube, they don't.
Yeah, I don't understand. I have the same thing. Some things will go well on one, not on the other, and you're just like, I don't. And
But if people,
I know people that are like looked into like, you know, and they want to work it out. No, you need to do this for this channel, this for this
Yeah.
channel. But at a certain point, I'm a bit like, I just want to do the funny thing and move on with my life.
I have like 30 videos on YouTube, and yesterday I was saying to a friend, I think I'm gonna delete all of them, actually save all of them, and give it to like a social media's general like specialist, and say this is my channel, upload my videos. Choose, I don't know what it is, the description, the key, because tags don't even work on YouTube.
Yeah.
Tags don't matter. So I'm gonna do that. But anyway, if you look up Fady Kassab, all my channels will pop up. If there's another Fady Kassab, I'm the real Fady Kassab.
It'll be in the link will be in the description for the show too, mate. Thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you, Andrew. It's wonderful. It's so good.
Good fun.